What was the Chimera, a nightmare monster in Greek mythology? Chapter 1. Definition. The Chimera is a fascinating creature from Greek mythology, representing one of the most iconic monsters in this rich tradition. At its core, the Chimera is a figure that provokes both fear and fascination, symbolizing the struggle between man and the unknown. Over the centuries, many stories have been told about this creature, and each one brings with it lessons and reflections that still resonate in our daily lives. For those of us who live in a world full of challenges and uncertainties, the Chimera can be seen as a mirror of our own internal and external struggles. When I talk about the Chimera, I remember how often we encounter monsters in our lives. These monsters can take the form of fears, insecurities, or even aspirations that seem unattainable. By understanding the nature of this creature, we can also begin to understand our own challenges. Throughout the story, the Chimera also teaches us that even the most terrifying monsters can be defeated. Through courage, determination, and often with the help of allies, we are able to overcome the difficulties that surround us. Thus, the Chimera becomes a symbol of hope and resilience. So, when facing your own chimeras, remember that you are not alone on this journey. Each challenge is an opportunity for growth and transformation, and true strength comes from within. Physical description. The Chimera is one of the most impressive mythical creatures in Greek mythology, and its physical description is truly fascinating. Imagine a being that combines the characteristics of three different animals: the robust body of a lion, the front part of a goat that rises majestically on its back, and the tail of a serpent, which writhes as a symbol of danger and cunning. This unusual combination is not just a matter of appearance, it reflects the Chimera's role as a symbol of chaos and disorder. When I think of the Chimera, I can't help but imagine the imposing nature of this creature. The lion, with its strength and majesty, represents courage and ferocity. The goat, on the other hand, brings a certain agility and resilience, while the serpent adds an element of fear due to its treacherous nature. The combination of these elements results in a being that not only terrifies, but also fascinates. This idea of mixing the known with the unknown is something that, to some extent, we all face in our personal journey. Like the Chimera, we often face challenges that seem to be a combination of our greatest worries and fears. So when thinking about the physical description of the Chimera, remember that it is a symbol that speaks to the challenges that we all face. No matter how old we are, there will always be something in our lives that can seem as frightening and untamable as this mythical creature. The key is to find the strength within ourselves, just as Bellerophon did when facing the Chimera, and to transform these challenges into opportunities for growth and self-discovery. 3. Origin. The origin of the Chimera, this fascinating creature from Greek mythology, dates back to a world where gods and monsters coexisted, showing how ancient stories reflect human fears and desires. She was the daughter of Keto and Phorca, two sea deities who symbolized terror and the depth of the unknown. To understand the Chimera, it is important to consider the context in which she emerged. The ancient Greeks sought explanations for natural phenomena and often created mystical beings to represent these mysteries. Ceto, known as the goddess of sea monsters, and Phorca, associated with creatures of the deep, created this figure that is a true amalgam of horrors. The Chimera was not just a physical being, she reflected the complexity of the world around her, where different forces of nature could come together to create something terrifying. When we think about the Chimera, we are led to ponder how the forces that surround us can combine in unexpected ways, generating chaos and destruction. It is no wonder that her image has endured for centuries. The origin of the Chimera is therefore more than a mere historical curiosity. It is an invitation to explore the complexity of life and to come to terms with the parts of ourselves that we often prefer to hide. By remembering that we are all a combination of experiences, emotions, and aspirations, we can begin to understand and accept our own nature, as well as that of others. In this way, the Chimera, with its rich origin, continues to teach us about the challenges and wonders of human existence. Symbolism. The Chimera, with its peculiar and terrifying appearance, is not just a creature from an ancient tale. It carries a deep symbolism that resonates to this day. To understand this, we need to delve into its characteristics and the context in which it is that was created. The Chimera is, above all, a representation of chaos and destruction. By mixing parts of different animals, it symbolizes the confusion and struggle that exist in the natural world. It is as if nature itself, in its wildest form, manifests itself through this creature. In my journey, I realize that many of us face our own chimeras. They can present themselves as immense challenges, problems that seem impossible to overcome. The Chimera teaches us that behind every fear and uncertainty, there is often an essence of internal struggle. The monster is, therefore, a reflection of our anxieties and our desires. When I look at the Chimera, I see not just a monster, but a representation of complex human emotions. In short, the Chimera offers us a mirror. It reflects our struggles, our fears, and our aspirations. By understanding its symbolism, we are invited to explore our own stories and find deeper meaning in the experiences we live. Like Bellerophon, we all have the ability to face our chimeras, and in doing so, we grow and become more whole. So face your own chimeras with courage and curiosity, for they can be the keys to deeper and more transformative self-knowledge. The Vramas 5. Legend of Bellerophon. The legend of Bellerophon is one of the most fascinating stories in Greek mythology, especially when it comes to the clash between the hero and the chimera. Bellerophon, a prince from the city of Corinth, is remembered as a fearless and audacious man. His story, full of adventures and challenges, is a true testament to human courage. For me, this story is not just a legend. It teaches us about the fight against our own internal and external monsters. The Chimera, as mentioned, is a mythical creature, a terrifying combination of a lion, a goat, and a serpent. This monstrosity is not only a physical test, but also a symbol of the difficulties we face in our lives. When Bellerophon set out to defeat the Chimera, he was not just fighting a mythical being, but confronting his own fears and insecurities. The Chimera represents all that is chaotic and destructive, and in defying it, Bellerophon became an archetype of the hero who rises against adversity. The legend of Bellerophon and the Chimera, then, is not only a story of bravery and adventure, but also a reflection of the complexities of the human condition. We all face chimeras in our lives, and like Bellerophon, we have the ability to overcome them. However, we must always remember to stay grounded, value friendship and humility, and act wisely. Greek mythology, with its rich and profound stories, continues to inspire us to find courage and meaning in our own journeys. 6. Artistic representation. The Chimera, this fascinating creature from Greek mythology, has always been a rich subject for artists throughout history. Its hybrid form, which combines the ferocious characteristics of a lion, the uniqueness of a goat, and the cunning of a serpent, offers a powerful image that has inspired many artistic representations. Over the centuries, the Chimera has been depicted in paintings, sculptures, and even plays, evoking not only terror but also the beauty of the extraordinary and unusual. Personally, I've always found it intriguing how these mythological monsters can reflect fears and challenges in society. Art is a form of expression that connects us with who we are and what we fear. The Chimera, for example, is often used by artists to symbolize internal conflict and the struggle against forces that seem uncontrollable. In sculpture, the Chimera is often depicted with a fierce gaze, capturing the essence of its destructive nature. Renaissance artists, such as Jean-Baptiste Carpeaux, brought to life versions of mythological creatures that defied gravity and logic, creating works that mirrored the complexity of the human being. The Chimera, in its most primitive form, serves as a reminder that behind every challenge lies the potential for overcoming. Literature has not been left out, either. Poets and writers have used the figure of the Chimera as a powerful metaphor. In many poems, The chimera is seen as a symbol of the illusions we seek, but which are often unrealizable. This use of the chimera as a representation of impossible aspirations resonates particularly with those who, like me, have faced moments when they felt lost in their own hopes and dreams. Thus, the chimera is not just a monster from ancient stories, but an ongoing representation of human struggles. With every brushstroke in every verse, it teaches us about the courage it takes to face the unknown and the importance of seeking the true essence that resides within us. That is why, when telling by exploring the art that brings the chimera to life, we are reminded that even in the face of chaos, there is always a light that can guide us. 7. Modern interpretation. The chimera, with its rich history in Greek mythology, has been given a new lease of life in modern interpretations. For many of us, this creature is not just a terrifying monster, but a powerful metaphor that reflects our inner struggles and aspirations. Throughout life, we are often confronted with illusions, desires that seem beautiful but are in reality unattainable, or that can lead us down dangerous paths. The chimera teaches us to look at these desires with a critical eye. When I think about the chimera, I realize how representative it is of the pitfalls that life throws our way. We all have dreams that, at first glance, seem grand and exciting. However, when we delve deeper, we realize that these desires can be a mix of reality and fantasy, like the chimera itself, which is a combination of different beasts. This leads us to reflect. To what extent are we willing to fight for something that may not be real? This question is especially pertinent for those of us who, like myself, have lived through many phases of life and have a deeper understanding of what truly matters. Ultimately, the chimera invites us to engage in a profound dialogue about the nature of ambition and reality. By reflecting on this mythical creature, we are led to consider what truly matters in our lives. Through this analysis, we can find a path that honors our aspirations, but also anchors us in reality, allowing us to live more fully and consciously. Therefore, as we look to the chimera, may we learn to discern between what is true and what is illusory, and thus navigate the complexities of life with wisdom and courage. 8. Cultural legacy. The chimera's legacy in contemporary culture is fascinating and broad, encompassing everything from art to literature and entertainment. This creature, which appeared in ancient stories of Greek mythology, continues to inspire the imagination of many, even centuries after its first appearance. For those of us who have lived through a lot of life and observed cultural transformations, it is intriguing to see how such an ancient symbol still resonates with current themes. First, the chimera has a strong presence in many works of art. Artists throughout history have sought to capture its terrifying yet enchanting essence. Renaissance painters and modern sculptors have created interpretations that show the chimera's monstrosity, often associating it with themes of struggle and overcoming. When I look at these works, I often wonder what they represent in our own lives. The struggle against our fears and challenges can be compared to Bellerophon's battle against the chimera. Finally, the chimera's cultural legacy teaches us that, even in the face of fear and the unknown, there is always room for strength and overcoming. Over the centuries, this mythical creature has encouraged us to confront our own monsters, whether external or internal. Through its depictions in art, literature, and film, the chimera continues to fascinate and challenge us, showing us that although life can be chaotic and full of challenges, there is always an opportunity for transformation and personal growth. So when we hear about the chimera, let us remember that, like Bellerophon, we all possess the strength to face our fears and overcome our battles.